So this hose here, it's got an aluminum fittings and it's fused to the brass. So I tried spraying it with WD-40 and I've tried to take the hose off and I can't. So what I'm going to do is just swap this spigot for another spigot and take the spigot and all to move it to its new place.
Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California. We have an issue here and I do want to discuss it with you because it's so important. These are fantastic hoses. I love them. It's not Gary's favorite, but it is mine. But they're not made right and they don't tell you this, but Gary knows about it. So you cannot detach the hose on the top at all from the faucet.
No, it's set too long.
So it's now fused.
Now it's fused together. You've got two dissimilar metals. You've got one that contains copper, one that contains aluminum, and they're not supposed to go together. So this is a great hose, but the fittings should have been designed better. So in order to move this and put a new one on here, a longer one, I'm just going to have to take the spigot off or the hose bib, swap it and place it where it's going to go in its new place, and that will solve the problem.
Now the other option you were telling me was to actually destroy the hose, because you can't fix these like you would a regular rubber or plastic hose or vinyl hose. You would actually have to cut it, correct?
So,
to save the faucet.
So if this broke on you, then you can use a hacksaw, go around the top, cut down as close to the thread of the hose bib as you can, so you can just break it off. At that point it'll break off.
And these hoses are not repairable. A lot of other hoses are. I do know these are not. That's why I usually get short ones that are 25 to 50 foot, and then put two of them together if I need to. Though they did have them on sale, so I did go splurge and get a 75 foot.
And this isn't just an issue for these hoses. It's an issue for a lot of really well-known brands. I think they've started to solve the problem, but I don't know if it's a complete solve. But they were getting the fittings, they look brass, but they weren't brass. They were some other alloy.
And when you're done with all that, I have something really important to tell them about that, because a lot of it is false advertising when we're completely done. So they'll understand what they're reading is not what they're getting. You know, I'm going to have to say this. The guineas hear you, and you're talking, and the louder you get to go over the guineas, the louder they get to let you know they're behind you.
Yeah.
Okay, so which you want to do first, the other one or this one?
We'll do this one since we're here. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in on this.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So there's backup pressure from the hose itself.
Now that's a good way of doing it. Look at that. So now you just have to screw the whole thing onto another one. And you save the hose.
I did put Teflon tape on the inside of this, but it didn't form up enough of a barrier. And if you look at this is brass, the Teflon tape sort of wore through and formed a seal. But that little bit of a gap there where it's gone green, that's the copper. That is occurring inside here, but instead of coming free, it's fused.
Okay, so now we'll walk over and see where you're putting that one.
Yeah, I'll move it to the next side.
Okay, now we're at the faucet that is a good faucet, and you're doing what here?
I'm just going to swap this one to this one.
So the reason he is doing this is I actually wanted a 25-foot hose on this faucet because I water part of my bird garden that way and the side here. And the one I bought for the front yard is now a 50-foot. And I bought two 75-foots to put somewhere else. And that's why he had to take the whole thing apart. So now we have the right sizes for the right places without losing that hose. And what is this?
This is Teflon tape, and that'll help with the seal.
So now all is good. I have my 25-foot hose. We don't have to throw it away. And he just swapped the faucets, but we're not done yet. So now this one is going to go into the front yard, and it's still good because he could get the old hose off here because it was a complete brass fitting. this one is a good faucet. So this will be swapped and we'll put the new hose on with a different type of connector.
So when you put the Teflon on, you wind it around like this, so it's going in the direction that you'll be turning it. Wind it around a few times. I'll add the Teflon tape to it. Teflon tape might help. Another good idea is to periodically, maybe once a month or so, disconnect it, maybe rewrap it to make sure that it doesn't fuse on. The one that was sitting here before had been on for too long and it hadn't been taken off.
It was on for about a year.
And that's it. And there's also another way. You could get the brass fitting. That's expensive. Or you could get the plastic fitting. That's less expensive. And that way this won't be connected to the brass. Some hose companies are adding brass inserts into their hoses, and that's helpful. But other brands may look like brass, they may not actually be brass.
So here's a few pointers I want to say. I do believe that all these metal hoses are pretty much made from the same factory. This is just my opinion, I'm not 100%, in China. Now this box is marked made in China. This box is not marked anything. I've gone through everything on the box. I don't see it unless it's in the code here. I checked it everywhere and I checked it in their instructions. Nothing. But every hose I've gotten, and I've gotten a few, and I've never had one of these break yet, have worked great, and they all look the same. Sometimes the spray nozzle is different. It might come in black, orange, or green. Now, I'm also going to say that you cannot believe everything you read. This says 3/4, and that's how they're advertising it. Interface, it is not. It is no different than this hose, but yet they're going to charge a little extra because they're telling you it's a 3/4 inch hose. No, it is not. Inside is very small, so you're not going to get a ton of pressure out of it. But for the garden, for me watering, and I've got 2 of them put together over there, it works perfect. And I've been using them since last year. It will also tell you sometimes it's 100% brass, and there'll be a copper color. But if you read the instructions, a lot of times they tell you in there it's not, it's aluminum. They don't say not, they just say aluminum. I will tell you they're not. So really look them over on the one you want. If you're looking for high pressure, like our house pressure here is about 60, 65, this is perfect. That's what these are meant for. The pressure outside in our garden can be 150 and sometimes as high as 200, usually running about 150. We have different water pressure here up in the hills. So the hoses theoretically can break, but I'm going to tell you something. I had some guys working here last year, kept leaving the hose on, and one time it got left on for a day and a half. I didn't even know, and I'm still using that hose and it never broke. And that was with high 150-pound pressure. I don't recommend that. I would go by what they say. They say it's safe to use 60 to 90 pressure, pounds per inch, all right? The other thing too is it says 45 degrees, but it doesn't say what 45. I will tell you, I leave my hoses out in the sun. It gets really hot here. We got to, 110 last year, and nothing happened to the hoses. Though I would say toss them in the shade if possible. They're so easy to curl up. They're so light to use. It is without a doubt my favorite hose. I had the fabric ones. I still have a fabric one on my deck, and I have used that for over a year. But these are better because you can step on them. The dog can't chew them, which Zoe has put her teeth through them before on a very old one. Things can happen to the fabric ones. I've really had a lot of good luck with them if you take care of them. So that's basically it. I wanted to give you a heads up on things you should be aware of because I don't want you to put it on and they don't tell you this and find out that you can't take it off. They recommend to take it off and on every month. I'm going to be honest, I forget and I don't have time to do that. I'm working around here and so is Gary. I want to be able to put it on, use it and forget it, and that's the way I want it. But as far as use, it is absolutely my favorite hose. Gary likes his big hoses in his garden. For me, I want to put all my energy into gardening, not all my energy into dragging a heavy hose that's constantly kinking or collapsing on me. I've had really good hoses he got me that collapse. I've never seen anything like it. It would just go boom, and then you have to straighten it out and squeeze the hose. It's ridiculous. So these have been working for me. If they only lasted 1 year, I would be happy. Walmart's got a lot of them for 90-day return. But just keep the box in case something happens and go back to Walmart. Even though it's not coming from Walmart, they stand behind it at least for 30 days. Read the instructions, make sure that you can return it to the store. I buy everything from Walmart and I always make sure it is returnable to the store. I click that. If it says no, I go on to the next thing. So I hope this gave you some ideas on watering and enjoying your garden without dragging around a lot of heavy hoses or stress of kinking, which is my big thing. And that's about it. So with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. It's so peaceful and beautiful out here, isn't it? Bye-bye, everyone. A few last pointers on the hose. I absolutely love it. When you are going to water your garden, make sure that the water is coming out cool. A lot of times if the hose is laying in the sun, it will get to almost boiling. So if you hit your plants with that, I will let you know you have cooked your plants. And if you're filling up fountains, let it drain for a few minutes or at least a couple minutes so the water will come out of the hose, because though it looks metal, it is some sort of plastic inside. Once it drains through, then it's coming straight from your water system, and that is a good time to flush your fountains after you've let it run through just for a couple minutes so it gets out of the hose. That's basically it. I learned that as a kid when I was drinking water out of hoses. My dad taught me. Let it run, and once it's gone through the hose, then go ahead, water your plants, and drink the water. Always drank through a hose. And that's basically all I want to let you know. There's just so many things. I'm going to tell you, I don't even have this turned on full from the house here. And I love it. I love the control. I love all the different controls on it. It just, their faucet, the handle here that they send is a really nice one. And it just makes gardening such a pleasure. If you're dragging a hose around the garden and it's kinking and it's getting caught on everything, and this doesn't get caught on anything, I'll tell you something. It makes gardening a chore. This actually is so relaxing. It makes life so easy. And it's so easy to go fill up my fountains around here and flush them out too, because I've got all the different settings on this. This particular hose that I'm using here are two 25-foot hoses, I believe I put together. No, it might be 250s. I am not sure. I'm not sure what I bought last year. It's either 250s or 225s. I wanted to get two in case they broke because I wasn't, familiar with them. So I could just undo one and throw it away, but they haven't broke. And I'm going to tell you, I've been using them, dragging them around, leaving them out in the sun, and it makes life just pleasurable to come out in the garden and water. And it's so lightweight and it never gets caught on anything. And it's so easy if you want to roll it up and tuck it in the shade, which I do try to keep it in the shade when possible, to just roll it up because it's as light as a feather, really. Okay, well, now I think I got to get back to planting in some totes. I just so love with this watering in the garden. It's soothing. You know what else I love? Let's look at this. I really get lazy on this. When I'm propagating or doing my lettuce, the control on it is so easy. I don't have to open up anything. I'm propagating emu bush. I've got a geranium. I've got hummingbirds lunch here, and all I have to do is go through. I don't even have to open it. Talk about lazy. Here I'm taking care of that tomato plant. I'm propagating up here. Oh my goodness. Blanket flower. There's salvia in there. There's all kinds of stuff. And here I got some black fly on here because onions don't like being in the shade. washes all those nasty little black flies, the black apis, off, and they drown. They do come back. I just have to put the onions in the sun. Okay, that's it. Oh, and you can fill up your watering cans too. Of course, I should change the setting. Hold on. I'll use jet. Okay, that one's full. Just so nice.